You've got real cities and you've got fictional cities, outer space, and time travel. All rich palettes for settings for a superhero. Let's talk about how we can best use them. Welcome to my channel, KC. That's me, Carrie Chug, the Sledge Storyteller, here to talk about the wonderful world of storytelling and to open up discussion about how we can tell the best stories we possibly can. So, a superhero's base of operations demands almost as much attention as their powers, personality, and supporting characters. And the most talked about locales for superheroes are cities, like the real cities, most notably by Marvel Comics, and fictional cities, most notably by DC Comics, with best known examples of Metropolis and Gotham. Now, diehard fans of either publisher at times may argue over which approach to superhero placement works best, but when you break it all down, no fan from either side would want to see a sudden change where Superman or Batman are placed in New York City, or when Superman or Daredevil end up in fictional cities, which brings me to talk about the merits of each approach. So first, real cities. Now, it goes without saying that Spider-Man at the very least needs a vast skyline that would allow him to swing down the streets between skyscrapers, and Stan Lee went to great lengths to make sure old Spidey could be seen amid all the iconic structures of New York to the point that they are essentially inseparable. I say essentially because MCU is one of the several examples of Spider-Man taking temporary leave at times. But in this case, Spider-Man was attuned to New York in environment, in imagery, and in culture. Furthermore, there's less reason to acquaint the audience with the city's geography and structures, and we get an automatic sense of urgency when such beloved icons as the Statue of Liberty are threatened as part of the story. Well, now, fictional cities. The key difference I see here is a fictional city can be attuned to the hero, whereas real cities are mainly vice versa. While Superman being a beacon of hope and of an advanced race, Metropolis is an advanced city where every building you see looks like it was just opened yesterday with technology at its peak, so that Superman's villains would be technology-based threats. Gotham, on the other hand, is home to Batman, a demon-like figure, therefore Gothic pillars, spires, and statues prevail. And while Wayne Enterprises and Batman's need for high-tech gadgets invite state-of-the-art technology, dark alley crime reminds that much of Gotham be backwards and include gritty and looking ghettos. So it too has technology-based villains but also dark street-level thugs. Now, from their inception, huge metros have always served as a place where superheroes live and operate, in part due to their publishers being based in New York City. One other known reason is stated by much heralded comic artist Alex Ross, but he said in the documentary Once Upon a Time, The Superheroes, if you take Batman and put him where I came from, Lubbock, Texas, there's not much for him to do down there. He's just going to roll around looking for hillbillies to beat up. Now, up until what's called the Marvel Renaissance in the 60s, nobody wanted to try sophisticated themes of normal everyday people becoming superheroes, or a teenager becoming his own superhero instead of a sidekick to somebody else. So along those lines, what Alex Ross just said, nowadays you look and you see the success of Smallville and also what looks like what's going to become a success, the TV show Lois and Clark. So along those lines, I'm inclined to think that we're going to disprove that and we can find a place for superheroes outside of the urban scene. And, one you just saw of Rockton, our cities in Ogden don't have any buildings taller than 13 stories. So, it's not going to look anything like that. So here I am hoping that the smaller cities can be a home to superheroes. Here's hoping. Now, the principles I believe in terms of cities, real or fictional, is that you stay consistent with your geography. If they're real, in the case of New York, regularly show the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, the Guggenheim, the Statue of Liberty, and have in-depth knowledge of what life is like there. Having a fictional city isn't an excuse to not have structure. In DC Comics, both Gotham and Metropolis have been mapped out and have names for specific places. Have history for the city. If not to build the story upon, than to give context to what built the city up. Now, moving on to outer space. So in this part of the superhero realm, you have Peter Quill, Silver Surfer, and Green Lantern, among many others, embarking on intergalactic adventures. What's key here, much like with cities, is that you keep things consistent. Your audience will often invest heavily in worlds that are used frequently, and their climates, ecosystems, and social structure. Make sure structure in all those categories are maintained. And finally, time travel. Currently, we've got Legends of Tomorrow covering this aspect of the superhero realm, and as well as Booster Gold, The Flash, they've all done their share of time traveling, though it does present challenges. Basically, make sure you get your rules down and stick with them. It stands to reason that you have to choose the changeable time paradox, and there's only so much you can do with major historical events, which Legends of Tomorrow handles well in having their villains do something that upsets aspects of that event that has to be corrected. There are enough time travel stories to give you an idea enough of what will and won't work, but read up on them, figure out your own rules, and never stray from them. But that's my insight on superhero settings. Agree? Disagree? Something I left out? Please let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, please click like. If you like this channel, please click subscribe or follow me on Instagram. There's always the link to Sledge number 1 below. Got that right here as a sample for you. Or it can be ordered on Kindle. But let's all look for civility amid our challenges out there. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the pandemic. Please, nobody screw it up, and let's all wear our masks. I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Let's get past the social and political strife and do what everyone tells us to do, is again about the pandemic. But thanks for watching. Everyone be safe, and God bless.